Hey there, Sovereigns, it's Monica Grace from Card Reading Queen, and today we're doing a really fun video. This video is all about how you can tell if you and your twin soul have compatible astrology signs. And so for this video, we're specifically talking about your sun signs, but you could also use this to talk about any of your other signs, so like moon signs, ascending signs, and so on. So the first way to see if you and your twin are compatible according to your astrological sign is through looking at the element that's associated with each sign. Each sign on the zodiac has an element associated with it, either earth, water, fire, or air. For example, Aquarius is an air sign, Pisces is a water sign, Aries is a fire sign, and so on. So there are two combinations that tend to be the most compatible. So first of all, if your elemental association is the same, there's some compatibility there, and that's probably, you could probably consider that compatible. But you are even more compatible if you are either an earth and water sign together, or if you are an air and fire sign together. And the cool thing about each of those is that when you look at that, so let's say, for example, one of you is an air sign and one of you is a fire sign, you can often see a little bit more about how the relationship is actually going to balance out. So with the air and fire sign, for example, the air is what fuels the fire, so you'll find that the person who's the air sign is actually often a little bit more nurturing to the person who is the fire sign, and you'll find that the fire sign tends to be the one in charge, while the air sign is a more supportive and nurturing partner to them. And so, this is very general. It's not to say one's better than the other, but it tends to give you just a little bit more information about how the two signs work together. For the earth and water sign, it's pretty similar. The earth is watered. Obviously, it grows. Everything on earth grows because of water. Water comes from the earth, that sort of thing. So these two signs are also very nurturing toward each other. The second way you can tell a little bit about your compatibility is to look at the signs in terms of how they are aspected against each other. So an aspect in astrology is basically a number of degrees that two things are apart. So as you know, in astrology, there's 360 degrees total, and each element, whether it's a planet or whatever it is, a zodiac sign, whatever, is placed along the wheel at a certain angle or a certain degree. So all of the zodiac signs are 30 degrees apart, and what you'll find is that you can add up the number of degrees apart that they are to get what the aspect is. So for example, Aquarius and Pisces are right next to each other, so those two signs are only 30 degrees apart. Aquarius and Aries are, they have the sign of Pisces between them, so those two signs are 60 degrees apart, and so on. So Aquarius and Taurus would be 90 degrees, Aquarius and Gemini would be 120 degrees, Aquarius and Cancer 150, and so on. So now to figure out the compatibility, I'm going to read to you what each of the different aspects means. If you're looking at compatibility, you're really going to be looking at if the signs are the same one or every other one after that. So let me explain that a bit. If the signs are the same, so let's say you're an Aquarius and Aquarius, then those two signs would be conjunct to each other. So that's a 0 degree difference. So then you can go every other, so you would say Aquarius and Aries are compatible because they're 60 degrees apart, which is a sextile, and so on. So the ones that are compatible are conjunct, which is 0 degrees apart, sextile, which is 60 degrees apart, trine, which is 120 degrees apart, and then opposite, which is 180 degrees apart. So what that leaves for incompatibility is the ones that are basically the one after, so if they're right next to each other, and then every other one after that. So for example, Aquarius and Pisces, they are semi-sextile, which is 30 degrees apart, which makes them less compatible than some of the other combinations. So you have the semi-sextile, which is 30 degrees apart, You have square, which is 90 degrees apart. And then you also have the quincunx, which is 150 degrees apart. Now, if you're interested in aspects, you can actually look up in a little bit more detail what each of these aspects might mean to your relationship. For example, if your two signs are in trine, that is 120 degrees apart, and that happens to be an extremely positive association. But if you have opposite signs, then it can also show some conflict. Even though typically oppositions are considered a positive thing, because they're at the opposite ends of the zodiac, they can also have very differing traits, and it can be kind of an opposites attract type of situation. The third way you can look at the two astrological signs and see if there's compatibility is by looking at the sign's quality. There are 3 different potential values that could be assigned to this. The first is cardinal, the second is mutable, and the third is fixed. So if your sign is a cardinal energy, it basically means that it's the start of a new season. So this would be the spring equinox, the autumnal equinox, the summer solstice, or the winter solstice. And the 4 signs, of course, are Aries, Cancer, Libra, and Capricorn. Because these signs are all cardinal signs, they actually have similar purposes on the planet, but they have different approaches for how to do them. So the cardinals, for example, they tend to be more of the leaders of the world, and they are the ones, they all have different approaches to leadership, but they are the ones who are leading the seasons. The fixed signs are the ones that fall in the middle of each season. These ones would be Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, and Aquarius. And then the mutable signs are all the other ones, and they are the ones that close out the seasons. So you can go and learn a little bit more about what each of the signs' qualities are and what they mean, but you can tell a lot based on whether those sign qualities match up with one another. So what do you do if you've gone through these 3 different ways and you're finding that you actually don't have a lot of compatibility with your twin soul in terms of astrology? What I would typically say to that is, don't worry, it's good if you can find those compatibilities, but it doesn't necessarily mean anything if the compatibilities are not there. The biggest reason for that is because you're probably comparing sun signs. And the truth is that we have 10 different astrological signs associated with each person. These 10 signs make up a larger personality profile than your sun sign ever could. Because you have these 10 different signs and your twin soul also has these 10 different signs, and there are lots of different things you can do to organize those signs in terms of compatibility and in terms of aspecting. What's really useful if you want to get a true picture of your personalities, both individually and as part of your twin soul union, is to do some sort of astrological charting that would combine, not only give you your individual profiles, but also combine your 2 profiles and tell you a bunch of cool stuff about it. If you think something like this sounds really interesting, I just want to let you know that I actually offer this service at Card Reading Queen. So you can go to cardreadingqueen.com/compatibility, and what you'll find there is just an outline of exactly how my twin soul romance and compatibility report works. One of the first things we do is we take the natal charts of both you and your partner, and we go through all 10 of your signs and build out your personality profile from there. We also look at your houses and lots of different aspects that are happening between the different planets in your charts. And then as long as we know certain information about your twin, we're able to do the same for that person. And so you'll have a profile of each of you and how your personalities each are individually. Then we take those 2 profiles and we're able to do a compatibility report based on those. So we're able to look at what your twin soul union looks like, and we're able to tell a bunch of different things. Some of those things include wounding that you might both be struggling with, or that one or the other of you is struggling with, different triggers that could potentially cause each of you issues that may help you explore why certain patterns are showing up in your relationship. We'll also do a natal chart synastry, which shows how the different planets at the time of each of your births have different relationships to each other. So different aspecting within the planets between the two of you. From all of this, we're able to create a union blueprint, and the union blueprint is really cool because it tells you what each of your divine purposes are on this planet individually, and then it shows you how those two work together and how those interact in terms of your life purposes and what you're both here to heal, what your union is here to heal. And then finally, if you decide to order this compatibility report with me, I will also give you a union timeline. So it looks to the next several months of your relationship to show you what is written in the stars for the two of you in terms of energy. And this is all, again, just based on your natal charting. The natal charting is based on your birth date and birth location. You can tell a lot about what's coming toward you based on when you decided to come into this world, each of you. So this is an incredible report. If you've never done any sort of astrological charting before, it could be really helpful to you in terms of understanding your twin soul union much better. Now, it is an investment. I do want to put that out there before you even go to the page. It is an investment. It's not, I know there are lots of people who do very affordable tarot readings and that sort of thing, or affordable astrological reports. This report typically takes me at least 20 hours to produce because I'm looking at so many different things. So it's actually kind of a big investment. But the thing is, once you have it, you are just going to know so much more about your union. So it really is dependent on what is important to you. It's also just a one-time thing, so it's not like you have to keep coming back like it is common with tarot readings. Because tarot readings are looking more at the current energies, this is looking at a longer time span and looking at the cosmic energies based on when you were born. So if you think this compatibility report sounds interesting, make sure you go to cardreadingqueen.com/compatibility. And you can check out more about it. You can read lots more about it and see the testimonials as well. Thank you so much for watching my video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it was helpful to you. I hope it's given you a little bit more perspective on how the astrological signs with you and your twin work and how you can find different points of compatibility within your signs. Have a beautiful and blessed day, and I hope to see you again in the next video.